What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another video on the channel. And today we are finally here with the 2021 AFL ladder predictions, the season predictions, and it always comes under a lot of controversy with these predictions because, you know, every time someone makes one of these videos, you got the people who just disagree with you. But yeah, it's my turn to give my predictions. I'll give my ladder predictions, and afterwards I'll go through the awards and I'll also go through the finals. So yeah, let's kick in. Number 18 spot, I've got the Roos. Not much of a surprise. I think most people have North Melbourne finishing around this position. They had a pretty bad year last year in 2020, and it doesn't help how they pretty much got rid of half their list. They got a new coach. I mean, people thought, you know, Reece Shaw was going to be the man to lift North Melbourne out of a slum, but, you know, that obviously didn't happen. And obviously the new coach in Noble will need to take time to, you know, develop his new players. But the loss of Ben Brown's going to be a big loss as well because they're not going to have much of an avenue up forward. I don't think Stevenson will be handy, but I don't think he'll be too great, especially with a very young team. And yeah, they also got rid of Mason Wood, who kicked 4 goals in the intra-club match against the Saints, which is quite ironic. Now, narrowly missing out on the wooden spoon. In at number 17 spot, we've got the Adelaide Crows. Now, they will slightly, I reckon, they'll slightly improve from their really poor 2020, but I don't think they will be too much of a threat to any teams. You know, they've got the youngest list in the comp. They've got a lot of young talent, and I think the Matthew Nicks will, you know, rather than focusing on winning games, his main focus would be the development and the improvement of his young stars. So, you know, further on down the track, you know, they're going to have some games in them and they can start competing with the bigger teams and, you know, start pushing for finals. But obviously right now, I don't think they're ready. I don't think anyone would think that. And that's why I've got the Crows sitting at 17th. Now, another team who I think will have a pretty disappointing 2021, in its 16th spot, we've got the Essendon Bombers. Now, had a shocking season in 2020. I think they'll have an even worse one in 2021. I mean, they don't have a game plan, really. If something doesn't work for them, there's no plan B. They just do the same thing, which is sort of why the Bombers, you know, have lost games by pretty large margins in the past couple years, you know, especially against quality opposition. So I just don't think that they're going to be good enough. They're not going to compete against anyone pushing for finals, I don't think. Yeah, I don't see the Bombers doing anything at all in 2021. Now, coming at number 15th spot, we've got the Hawks, another team who were quite disappointing last year, especially considering how well they started the year, but they dropped off significantly and they just look lackluster. Like, their list, it's not good enough. They just got no real depth or talent. I mean, they are starting to recruit some nice young players. Will Day looks good for them, but they don't have, you know, the list. They've lost all their stars from their 3P pretty much, which, you know, shows that they're finally rebuilding. It's been a long time that the Hawks are up at the top, but finally the Hawks are now down at the bottom. They're rebuilding. Wouldn't be surprised if they push for finals soon, considering they've got Alistair Clarkson. We all know the wonders he can do, but as for now, I do not see the Hawks doing anything in 2021, especially with Gunston out in the first few rounds, and they're gonna find it pretty tough to get any scores on the board, I reckon. Now, coming at number 14th, I've got a team that will slightly improve, I reckon, and that's the Sydney Swans. Now, obviously, they, you know, haven't been too great the past couple seasons. They've got a lot of young talent, though, which is exciting. They played some really good footy against the Cats, only narrowly missing out, and they played a really good brand of footy against the Dockers. If Buddy Franklin can, for some reason, get his body right, I reckon they can move up a couple positions this year. And I do think that the Swans will be quite competitive against a lot of the better side. Due to them being quite young, I do feel like they'll probably run out of steam come the end of a lot of games. Coming in number 13th spot, I've got the Gold Coast Suns, a team that is going to be very exciting this year. And that's something that I don't usually ever say, considering that, you know, most years they're sort of a laughing stock. But finally, I reckon this year will be the year where they finally start to show their talent. They've got an exciting game style. Gold Coast were actually an exciting team to watch, especially with Matt Rao. I know he's now back, so hopefully he's back better than ever. And I do think, though, that they will sort of play like they did in the last couple seasons. Start off fairly well and then, you know, drop and come pointing into the season because they've run out of legs. And I feel like that might happen again this year, but if they can for some reason overcome that and, you know, play a consistent, sustained season, they've got the slightest sneaky chance of potentially pushing for finals. 12th spot, I've got GWS, a team who were very disappointing, especially considering they come off a grand final loss. I actually thought that they were going to bounce back and finish in the top 2, but that obviously didn't happen. I don't think last year was a fluke year. I feel like they're going to do what Adelaide did and just bottom out because they did lose some pretty talented players, especially Jeremy Cameron. I mean, that's a massive loss. He won the Coleman in 2019. You know, now the Giants, who are they going to have, you know, kicking goals for them? I don't think Hogan's going to be their player. I think he's already injured, and I reckon that they'll just be a middle of the road club. Now coming in at number 11 spot, I've got Collingwood. You know, I do see a lot of other people having them drop, and I'm also one to agree with them. You know, obviously losing the likes of Stevenson, Treloar, and Phillips, you know, whilst isn't tragic, it's definitely going to deplete and affect, you know, the inner culture of the club, and I don't know if they're able to recover from that. And also, whilst probably not going to have a massive impact, also the loss of Eddie Maguire might drag the team spirits down a little bit, although I do think that they can easily overcome that. And playing games at the MCG back in Victoria will definitely help them out, but I do feel like they will drop, as well as many other people, and I have them finishing in 11th spot. Now number 10 spot, I've got a team that is very exciting and is up on the rise. We've got the Fremantle Dockers. Now they are an exciting team, and they're starting to play with a more attacking play style. And I do think that they might have a chance for finals. They can definitely contend if they can sustain a consistent season. You never know. Obviously, you got their young players, Brayshaw, Sarong, Chera. They're really exciting. They could potentially, you know, take the Dockers to a premiership in the coming years. Obviously, not at the moment. I don't think they're ready for it, but I do think the Dockers will be a very, very exciting team to watch, and I reckon they should win most of the games at Optus Stadium. Now, I don't think a lot of people will be happy with me for this one. At 9th spot, I've got Carlton. Now, I do reckon it's now or never for the Blues, and I think, you know, everyone down at Carlton think that it's finals are bust. If they don't make the finals this year, it will be another failed season. But they've been saying this, you know, seriously every year, and they always seem to disappoint the Blues. I mean, they're definitely a good team. They're going to be better, I reckon. They're a very exciting team. Cripps will be back to his best. Walsh, you know, he's just a very rare talent. He'll only get better. But I don't know if the Blues have what it takes to, you know, push into the finals, because they seem to just disappoint. I mean, that game against the Crows last year, that was really disappointing. But if they can get a few things right, the Blues, they can easily make the finals. I just see them barely missing out, finishing 9th. Now, finishing 8th, I've got Melbourne. Now, I do think they've got a pretty strong list. And with the inclusion of Ben Brown, I know he's injured for the first few weeks, but with the inclusion of Ben Brown, a big, strong key forward, I think that is definitely what the Demons needed, and they will be an exciting team, I reckon. I mean, they've got a really good midfield. They've got Oliver, Petrarca, Brayshaw, Viney, and then they've got a solid defence with the likes of May and Lever, and if they can get all that right, you know, who knows, the D's might be able to get back to their 2018 form, but I don't think that will happen. I do think they'll scrape into the finals. They just got to work on their consistency. Now, a team that I have in 7th spot, I've got the West Coast Eagles. Now, I do feel like they're going to drop. They really should have made the top 4 in 2019 and 2020 with the quality of the list that they have. But they've just underachieved, finishing 5th both years. I just feel like they will do the same thing this year, and they'll stagnate at the bottom of the top 8. And, you know, their list is aging quite a bit. And I feel like if they don't get it right this year, this might be their last chance in tasting another flag, and I feel like they might dip in the following years. Now, coming in at number 6, we've got the Western Bulldogs. Now, they've definitely got, I reckon, the best midfield in the comp. They've just added Adam Treloar in what is already a stacked midfield. You know, they've got now Treloar, Bontempelli, McRae, Hunter. I mean, I'm not going to name them all. There's too many to name, but I'm not too sure if the inclusion will provide extra benefit, because, you know, then they're going to have too many players in the midfield that they're going to have to play someone out of position. They're not going to have everyone playing in their position. Will that, you know, be beneficial towards them? I'm not too sure. And if they can get Norton and especially Josh Bruce to fire after pretty average 2020s, and with the inclusion of the number 1 draft pick, Jamara Ugle-Hagan, they're going to be a very exciting team and could definitely push for top 4. Now, in 5th spot, I've got the Saints. Now, I just think that the Saints, they're on the rise. They had a really impressive 2020. You know, not too many people thought they were going to have a chance at making finals. We sort of defied the odds, the Saints, I reckon. And, you know, with the inclusions of some more players in the trade period, such as Crouch and Higgins, you know, shows that we are looking to win a flag. We're not, you know, topping up on young talent anymore. We're actually looking to win a flag, and we looked really good against the Kangas in the practice match, beating them by 91 points. You know, players such as Clark, Caulfield, King, they're only going to get better. It's just exciting for the Saints. So I think the Saints easily have a chance at making top 4, but I see him just narrowly missing out and finishing 5th. Now, finishing 4th, I've got the Power. Now, they had a really good season in 2020, but I do think they will slightly drop due to the fact that they now have to travel interstate more in 2021, and they will have less of a home ground advantage, considering that, you know, they had their fans up there in Adelaide, whilst the Victorian clubs, they weren't really able to have their fans, you know, cheering them on. So they had more of an edge over the opposition, I would say, the Power. and I feel like they also will have now more of a tougher draw, but they definitely have a great list and a very threatening forward line, and they're definitely a chance for the flag. Now coming in at number 3rd spot, we've got the Richmond Tigers. There's not really much to say about the Tigers, you know. For the 3 years that they've won the flag, they finished in 3rd position all 3 times, and it just seems to always happen for the Tigers. They seem to start off a little bit shaky early in the year, but they just you know, find their rhythm, they find their form come the pointy end of the season, which is, you know, perfect for them. They always seem to, you know, dominate during the finals and win a flag. Now finishing 2nd, we've got the Geelong Cats. They've added to their list with some more mature age recruits, the likes of Higgins, Isaac Smith, but most importantly Jeremy Cameron. If they can get Cameron and Hawkins fit and firing, that they could be really ominous. And if they can both combine for more than 100 goals, yeah, the Cats, they're going to have the best forward line in the comp. They've got an elite squad all up. They're going to be playing more games at GMHBA, and they're an unstoppable force there. So I do believe that they'll probably win most, if not all, their games at GMHBA, and if that's the case, yeah, they're easily going to finish in the top 2. Now, finishing 1st on the ladder, we've got the Brisbane Lions. Now, a few people will be like, well, they had a massive advantage last year and they didn't even finish 1st, but I do feel like they will still, you know, be one of the better sides. You know, they're only going to get better, I reckon. Lachie Neale, you know, a star. They've added Danaher. Although they did only play 3 games outside of Queensland last year, and they're going to be playing more interstate games, I still think they're one of the best sides in the comp, and I just have a feeling that the Lions are going to remain on top of the ladder and finish in 1st spot. Now I'm going to go through the awards, and then I'll get through quickly the finals, who I think will win the flag and all that. Starting off with the Brownlow medal, this might be a little bit biased. I just have a sneaky suspicion that this might happen. I want it to happen. I'm not saying it will happen, but I'm going to go for Jack Steele. Had an amazing year in 2020, was one of the best players in the comp. I would say top 3 midfielders. I can only see him improving this year. I mean, not too many people, I don't think, will steal votes off Steele. We don't really have many other star players at the Saints that can steal votes. Now, Coleman medal, this one is sort of tough. I'm going to go with someone that I haven't really seen too many other people, you know, predicting, and this is going to be Josh Kennedy. Now, I know, you know, he's starting to get quite old, but he was at one stage last year the favourite to win the Coleman, and just dropped off at the end. If he can have a fit year, a full season in 2021, you know, he definitely has a chance of winning the Coleman medal. Now, winning the Rising Star, I'm going to have someone who missed out, unfortunately, last year, and is still eligible. That's it. It's Matt Rowell. Now, I don't think too many people are going to disagree with me there. I mean, if he's fit and firing and, you know, not injury-free, he's definitely almost a lock for the Brownlow. He's just going to, you know, be unstoppable throughout the year, and I do think he'll also win the Gold Coast Suns best and fairest. Now we're going to get quickly through to the final. Alright, so the first game we've got Brisbane Lions versus Port Adelaide qualifying final. Now, I think the Lions will be too strong at the Gabba, so I'll have them advancing to the preliminary finals. Next game, Geelong versus Richmond. I think the Geelong will just have another shocking qualifying final, and we'll lose to Richmond. I think Richmond will just be too strong luck in the grand final. They'll qualify. First elimination final, St Kilda versus Melbourne. I just think the Saints are a better side overall, so we'll be through to the semi-finals. Melbourne are kicked out. And the second elimination final, Western Bulldogs versus West Coast. Bulldogs home game, but I'm going to go for the Eagles. So the semi-finals, we've got the Power versus the Saints at Adelaide Oval. Yeah, I don't think, as much as I want us to win, I don't know if we will get the job done. So I will predict the Power to win that. The Saints are out, Power are through. And in the second semi, West Coast versus Geelong. I think Geelong will get the job done and advance through to the preliminary final. So first preliminary final, Brisbane versus Geelong at the Gabba, a rematch of 2020. But I do finally see the Lions breaking the drought and qualifying through to the grand final. And Richmond versus Port Adelaide, another preliminary final. But just like last year, I'm going to go the Tigers to make that one through. Now the grand final, we've got Brisbane versus Richmond. However, I will back the Brisbane Lions to win the premiership and break the chances of the Tigers getting a three-peat. And as Norm Smith medal, I'm going to go Charlie Cameron. He'll kick 4 goals, he'll win the Norm Smith, and the Lions will win their first flag since 2003. But there we go, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my predictions video. So feel free to disagree. Let me know your thoughts down below, your predictions, and expect the Select Footy Stars box break to be out tomorrow as well. So yeah, exciting stuff coming ahead for the channel, and I will see you guys soon in my next one.